Hello and welcome to 13 Now, a streaming service from News 13 and mypanhandle.com. We appreciate you joining us for this live forum or candidate debate for the candidates running for the Bay County Commission District 1 seat. I'll go ahead and introduce you to the candidates, starting alphabetical order. Tommy Ham, who also happens to be the incumbent. He is on the left-hand side of your screen. Ron Keel, one of the challengers. He is right here in the middle next to me. And then Daniel Raffield, also one of the challengers. He is on the right-hand side of your screen. Gentlemen, thank you all for accepting our invitation and coming in this evening. We're going to start with an opening statement from each of the candidates, and we'll go alphabetically by last name and then reverse the order at the end when we do a closing statement. To let you know a little bit more about what we're going to do here, it's very similar to the forum that we did or debate we did last week with the state attorney's candidates. This is untimed except for the opening statements, about a minute each, and it's a free flow of information and ideas and conversation. And hopefully you'll get enough information out of this to make an educated decision about who you want to vote for. These happen to be all three Republican candidates, so this seat will be decided in the August 20th primary, and it's an open primary. So that means if you're a registered Republican, Democrat, Independent, no party affiliation, anybody gets to vote in that particular race. So let's start with opening statements. Mr. Ham, we'll start with you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Tom. Good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to say that the journey that I've had on the commission so far has been incredibly enjoyable. I have been incredibly proud to represent Bay County, and I've been proud to represent you, the Bay County taxpayers. And our budget has grown to $570 million. That's a lot of money. You need to know what you're doing when you start stepping into running and being part of a team that runs a budget of $570 million. You got to have a skill set to do that. This job's not a hobby. This job has landmines, it has alligators, and the seat gets hot. You got to be able to have attainable goals. You got to be able to make decisions under immense stress. All of that, which I've proven that I can do that. I do have a record of making decisions, hard decisions. My record speaks for itself. We have and will continue to put public safety at the top. We've addressed our environmental issues. We're doing the septic to sewer around Deer Point Lake, opening the old pass, artificial reefs. We've repaved 100 miles of roads in Bay County in the last 8 years. That is the most in the history of the county. The surtax, I was part of the team that helped develop a model on the surtax to be able to generate 83% more purchasing power to stretch your tax dollars even further.
I think we're probably a little over a minute.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
And I'm about done. And with your, with your support, we'll continue to stay on that same path.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Ham.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Mr. Keel, go ahead.
Yes, my name is Ron Keel. I am running for county commissioner as well. And the cornerstones of what I'm running on right now is availability, accountability, and taxation with representation. Listen, the county is growing. It's growing at a rapid rate. We've gone from 168,000 citizens in 2019 to well over 190,000 citizens now. I believe that this is a full-time position. We don't really have time to have our representation not be available to the community. Also, one of the other things was accountability. Accountability is big in government because we do need to hold our government accountable, and you need those representatives up there that are going to hold everyone up there accountable and be there for you. And, one of the main things as a county commissioner that we need to be focusing on right now is the future for our community. I was just asked tonight by somebody on the way here at a gas station. They've been watching these debates, and they said, Ron, you're the only person that's talking about bringing jobs to Bay County. We could figure out the half-cent sales tax. We can figure out parking at the pier, all that stuff. Those are good issues. But the main thing that we need to get back to is our locals and getting back to what we're going to be bringing here as far as the future for our kids and for our families. Those are things I'm running on.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Keel. Mr. Raffield.
Good afternoon, Bay County. My name is Daniel Radfield. A lot of you I've met already. I moved here from Gulf County in 2005. Like so many of you, looking for opportunity, looking for a job. Small town where I was from didn't offer those things. In Bay County, which my grandfather was born here in 1915. My family is from Bay County, moved to Gulf County as commercial fishermen. Very proud of my heritage, very proud of the work that my family's done and the relationships that we have built in Bay County. My campaign is based upon three things: strategic planning, responsible growth, and public safety. All three of these things have to be implemented to ensure that Bay County continues to grow in a constructive way. Right now, you drive down any street in Bay County, most of them need repair after Hurricane Michael. We have a long way to go. Have a lot of issues on the table that need to be resolved, that need to be renegotiated. One of them that needs to be renegotiated is the CRA, which is on the beach. This is a real topic that has to be discussed and has to be gone through in the future to ensure that the county doesn't get penalized for the CRA. It's necessary for the beach to continue to grow and to beautify that part of the world. I'm Daniel Radfield, and I appreciate your support and your vote on August the 10th. Thank you.
Gentlemen, if you all walk away from this table hating me or liking me, then I've done my job. But if one of you feels like I've treated you unfairly, then I haven't done my job. So please bear with me, because I'm going to ask you some tough questions tonight. And one of them is going to be that CRA. That's one of the issues I had done on my list. But since you brought it up, let's go ahead and start. You're from what I'm gathering, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'll let you continue your thoughts. You want that CRA changed.
Absolutely. The CRA has to be renegotiated. If you're not familiar with the CRA, it was implemented in 2001 for the west end of the beach. It was designed for infrastructure beautification. There were grant opportunities to beautify your business or reface your business up to $30,000 per application. So far, the CRA has been extended to 2041. That will give you a total of $3.4 billion in revenue generated from the CRA. The problem with the CRA is taxpayers on this end of the county feel neglected. There's a deficit there. I think it's right at $20 million deficit that the county's been penalized on the CRA. So it has to be renegotiated. For the beach, it's important. Last time I checked, people don't come to Bay County and sit in the mall parking lot. They come to Bay County to enjoy the world's most beautiful beaches. And the CRA is in place to keep the roads going, infrastructure, beautification, but it has to be renegotiated so it's fair for everyone. I believe that if both parties, the county and the city of Panama City Beach, can sit down and they both leave a little aggravated, there's probably been a good deal negotiated between the two municipalities. So the CRA has to be relooked at, revamped. And that's where we are, in my opinion, on the CRA, Mr. Tom.
Mr. Keel?
I couldn't agree more. I do believe that the renegotiation needs to be done. I don't think it's going to be too hard, especially with the new mayor that we have out at the beach. It seems like he's on board. I've had several conversations with him on that. However, I think the big reason why the CRA is a topic is because of the millage rate going up. That's one of the things that I disagree with. So I'm going to round it back around to that, because that is why the CRA. I think we're close to $200 million now paying out on that. But going back to that millage rate going up by 1 point, the property tax went up by 25%, and I just don't see it. We had, I said in my opening statement, we went from 168,000 citizens to 197,000 citizens now. Those people came here and they purchased properties, which means, and they purchased properties in that time frame. That's when property values have been at their highest that we've ever seen. So if property values are at the highest that they've ever been, and that means that the tax rate that means that the tax revenue that the county came up with, it went up as well. So to raise that millage rate and to raise property taxes and then to blame it on the CRA, I think is foolish. I don't agree with that at all. So that's the only thing I have to say about the CRA.
Mr. Ham?
Yes. The CRA, I have been a staunch opponent of the CRA. It's no secret. I have spoke out against the CRA. It's a very complex mechanism out there at the CRA. The way it works is not like no other. And yes, we did raise the mill. The CRA was a huge component of that, because at the time, the CRA was bringing about 20% of ad valorem off the top that was going out there to the CRA. And when we raised the millage, that went from 19 million to 24 million. So they ended up getting about a $4 million bump because we went up on the millage. So it's like a dog chasing its tail. It's budget-wise, it's incredibly hard to catch something like that and forecast out into the future of what something as volatile as the CRA has been. We did go up on the mills with that, but the main thing, one thing I'd like to point out is when it comes to property values, you have property values, then you have taxable value. In Florida, our homestead is capped at a 3% rate every year. You can't go up. Even though your assessed value keeps going up and up and up, your taxable value is going to be capped at 3%. Every time you will see that it goes up, but your taxable value is only creeping up by 3% a year. Then we have homestead exemption that comes in, and that is backed out. So although you have property values increasing, like Ron has mentioned, the taxable value has been capped. So the county cannot capture ad valorem on the whole value of the property as it's increased over time. The thing with the CRA is, since its inception, the property values out there at the CRA, and it works different. It's not capped. The homestead exemption doesn't come into that play. Those values have gone up 700%. So yes, but I am too, I'm proud to say, and my hat's off to Mayor Tetterman for coming in. I've had discussions with him. We have came closest to negotiating this in the last 4 months, and we have in the last 6 years. And my hat's off to him for actually reaching out to the county and working with us to try to make something feasible, something that we can count on, and we can forecast, and then too, so they can be able to get their jobs done out at the beach. I mean, it ties back to transportation.
I would say on one hand, since the CRA was instituted, again, for those that don't know, it's set up to help what they call blighted areas. I don't know about too many blighted areas at the beach these days.
Correct.
Okay?
Correct.
I mean, the original blighted area was where Pier Park is now.
Correct.
Yes.
It was where the Seafood Festival used to be held. The old movie theater was there. And my dad had a friend that had a driving range out there. It was blighted, okay? But there are those at the beach who will say, well, wait a minute, let's play devil's advocate here. The property taxes you're collecting for the beach pays for most of the county anyway. Do they have an argument?
Well,
they still pay they still pay the millage rate too. That they still pay the property tax that went up as well.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So are you biting the hand that feeds you here?
Yes, in a way, because the CRA, because you can only spend that money back within the CRA. You can't spend it, from one end of the beach to the other. 89% of the property taxes that are derived out of the CRA go right back to the CRA. So only 11% gets to go back to the county to provide basic governmental functions that the whole county enjoys. The sheriff, the courthouse, supervisor of elections, like we're all up against right now. Those are a lot of the things that are on the Bay County budget, but we only got 11 cents on the dollar coming back. So there is a disparity with that. And it's not just this particular CRA is exceptional because of the type of land that, as you mentioned, Tom, is white gold out there. So this one is a little bit different. So, but I think the new mayor we have, again, my hat's off to him. I think we are going to be able to reach some sort of an agreement that we can all live with, and that's what we got to do going forward.
Mr. Keel?
It's a 737% increase over the course from 2001 to 2023, which is absurd. I understand that, but again, I will not agree that was a reason to raise property taxes on the citizens of this county. So,
Mr. Raphael?
You got to look at the CRA. It was instituted in 2001. That's when it came into existence. It's going to expire in 2049. The real numbers right here, looking at them, the CRA will receive $193.9 million up until 2024. That's this year. You take into effect of how much money the CRA is taking away from citizens on this side of the bridge. Like so many of you, we live on this side of the bridge, and I live here, and I wish, my goodness, Every time I go to Panama City Beach, it sure is beautiful. Then we come back over here to Hurricaneville. And we look at our streets, we look at our infrastructure, and we always wonder, what can we do better to make it better for our children, our grandchildren, the people that we work for? We should be serving in our community. So the CRA has to be revamped. It needs to be renegotiated, and both sides, like I said before, should leave that table and feel like they're upset. And that means we've negotiated a deal. It's got to be relooked at. And I will stand on that, Mr. Tom Lewis. It has to be revamped and renegotiated.
Let's start a real war.
Let's do it.
Would any of you gentlemen favor countywide consolidation?
No.
Why not?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
No, 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 no. They did that in Jacksonville. So the whole county, if that's what you're referring to, like they did in Jacksonville, yes, no. Because the way the statutes are written, they can have now, because of the consolidation, a maximum of 20 mills. That's a lot. Right now, we're limited to 10 mills. So you consolidate those two, you can go to 20 mills. You get the wrong group in charge for any amount of time, 20 mills is huge. The savings that you think you can get by consolidating, I don't see that happening. These other cities, they like their autonomy. Mexico Beach likes to be quaint, which is great. The beach is bustling. North part of the county, they want to be left alone. And so it's, trying to consolidate that. No, I would not agree with that. The potential hazard, if you will, on an increase in taxes is just too great.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we need to leave the municipalities and cities and let them be, not consolidating the county. There are many problems with that. And I think Tommy just hit on something that's pretty big. Right now, a lot of the people that live, in District 5, out north of town, they don't even like how Bay County is growing anyway, because they know that this everything that's happening on 388 and in that area, they know that it's coming towards them. And there's a lot of people out there that oppose it. There's a reason why they live up north. They want to stay away from it. So consolidating the county, no, absolutely not. I would never favor that.
Mr. Raphael?
I agree with Commissioner Hammond and Mr. Keel. You can't consolidate the entire county. People move to where they want to live. It could be because of a lower millage rate or a lower tax, or maybe they want to live in the country. If you blanket the entire county and you make it susceptible to one millage, you really put people in a bind as to what they can afford to pay. It's already expensive enough. If you're raising a family right now in Bay County and you're not making close to $100,000 a year, you're hurting. I'm with you. There was a time up until February I worked up to 5 jobs to work. It's tough, locally, federally, in the state right now for people to make a living. So to consolidate the whole county to implement those taxes as a whole would be bad for everyone.
I thought you guys were going to have a little more fun with that. I guess not. All right. Let's talk a little bit about past recent history. We had a really sad chapter in our county's history, at least in my opinion, shortly after the storm and shortly before the storm, where it appeared that some elected officials were rubber stamping county business or city business for their friends. Contract, bid rigging, things like that. One of the things that came up after the storm was, and after all this stuff started to surface, was going back to open bidding and doing away with local preference. Where do you guys stand on that? Let's start with you, Mr. Raphael.
You talk to people in the community that are out doing contract work. They want to keep the county money in Bay County. I believe everyone should have an opportunity to bid on the jobs that come into Bay County. It's fair for everyone. It makes it where people have to work hard to put forth those bids. Everybody gets the opportunity to bid on the job. That way the county, the constituents, save tax dollars. If you have a bidder here and you have one across the street, they both should be able to bid for the job. That way it's fair and the people get to save money. There's opportunity not to pay more for a job than it would cost outside that realm.
So you would not reinstitute local preference?
I would want to look at it front and back, and I would want to see everything about it before I made a complete decision. And I've talked to different people. I've talked to people that were for that, for against it, and I would really want to drill down into it before I made a hardcore decision on imposing something unless you check it out first. You need to see the whole bit of it front and back. You got to know before you make a decision.
Mr. Ham?
No. And Daniel has already spoke out in favor of local preference. I think that's where he stands. He has mentioned that before at some of the other forums. He's for local preference. No, I'm totally against local preference. Local preference sounds good. Keeping the money local. That's the onion, if you will. It sounds good until you start peeling it back. The real thing with local preference is it keeps competition away. And that's what you do not want. You want a fair and bidding system. You don't want people from just across the street to come bid. You want people to come from other cities, maybe even somebody from Georgia, Alabama. They need to come down here and bid as well. And that's what I did. And I voted in 2021 to basically effectively kill local preference. It's not good for the taxpayers. It's only good for special interest. And I voted to get rid of it. And that's something that I mentioned last night. You know, the reason, the group that's behind Daniel is the same group that's vowed to oust anybody that voted for local preference. And I made that vote, and I stand by that vote. I don't think it's a good idea for the county, and I'm against it.
So I don't know what there is to talk about. It's very simple. It's taxpayer. Taxpayer comes first. So if you're looking out for their tax dollars, that means if somebody wants to come in here from Louisiana and they want to take over a job, if they win the bid and they're qualified, they get the job. It shouldn't be, I've owned a contracting company in Bay County for 30 years and I want that road job. Well, too bad. Get your bid right. I agree with Mr. Ham on that, but Mr. Ham, you said that, Daniel has, supported local preference. I haven't heard him say it. I gave Daniel the opportunity the other night. I misspoke. I broke the rules in a forum, and so.
You don't have any rules.
I don't think Daniel's opposed to it, but Daniel, I'll ask you right now in front of everybody. Will you recuse yourself? And this goes for everybody at the table, by the way. This ain't just me or Daniel or Tommy. Will you recuse yourself of any vote having to do with any of your donors at the county level when it comes to any building? Any contract. I think that it's definitely a conflict of interest when it comes down to that. We don't need politicians that are bought. The American people are tired of it. The county people are tired of it. I think there's been enough corruption in the county for everybody to see what's happened. And so we can get it on the record right here and right now.
First of all, Mr. Ham, you're upset because those donors that donated to me this time donated to you the first time you ran.
No, they didn't.
They did.
No, they didn't. The first time I ran, Mike Nelson ran. They were wholeheartedly in the tank for Mike Nelson.
They donated to your campaign. They were supporters of you. That's a fact.
No, they were not.
And they're not supporting you now because they don't feel like you can handle the fiscal responsibility of the budget.
Yeah.
That's the truth, sir.
No.
That is the truth.
Well, go ahead.
And as far as recusing myself, I'm not in that chair yet to say that, Mr. Keel. So I'm not going to answer that question. I'm not going to say I'm going to recuse myself. If it's not fair for the county, if it's not good for taxpayers, if there was a conflict, I would absolutely recuse myself. And I believe the way that works, Commissioner Ham, and Commissioner Ham knows this, you would talk to the county attorney and he would direct you on if you need to recuse yourself from it or not. I've seen you recuse yourself from different things in the meeting because you had a conflict of interest because of your Winterfell construction that might have been partaken into the county. So I've seen that happen. And to answer the question, yes, sir. If it went against a rule or if it was not good for the constituents, I would absolutely
there's no regulation that
recuse
says
myself.
There's no regulation that says you have to do it.
No, if it was to recuse myself, the county attorney says I couldn't do it because of a donor.
They're not going to.
I'm just saying.
I'm telling you that there's nothing in there that says that you can't. That's the only reason why I asked it.
Would you recuse yourself?
Absolutely, I would.
If Jody Moore walked up to the podium and she was but
Well, she
you
said,
wouldn't do
"Hey,
business
Ron,
with Jody.
hey, Ron, I own a roofing company. I want to put a roof on the county building." I said, "Sorry, I can't be part of that vote because you were one of my donors, and I don't want anything coming back to me as a politician." As somebody that says that I'm here for the people, that right there,
Campaigns are
I
expensive,
do not want. Well, campaigns haven't been expensive for me.
Okay, well, they are.
I mean,
Let's talk about that for a second. 'Cause I just
they're
have to
expensive,
jot
but
some-
not for me.
I just have to jot some figures down here. Mr. Ham, you've got about 54,000 in contributions.
Yes.
Mr. Redfield, you got about 46, almost 47,000.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Keel, you got 8,300. Okay. But Mr. Ham, you accused him of getting a bunch of contractors. I did a quick head count, taking into consideration what I considered people in the building business, which would be bankers, real estate people, let's say garbage collection or trash collection,
Yes.
contractors. By my count, you've got in the ballpark of about 47 contractors or consultants or property management people contributing to you. Mr. Redfield, you got about 36, 37 in that ballpark. So you both are pretty well heeled with contractors, it looks like to me. Oddly enough, Mr. Keel's got none.
Okay.
I didn't make friends with the right people.
There's,
Wow.
I'll be glad to explain that, Tom. The contractors that have supported to me are in my line of contracting. We build vertical. We do homes, commercial, things of that nature. These realtors and things of that, same thing, is because we're building homes. They want to sell the homes that I build. The contractors that we're referring to do infrastructure. I don't have any of those people supporting me. Those are the ones that I'm referring to with Daniel's donors list. It's the infrastructure guys that are the ones that do it because they're going after the infrastructure surtax. They don't want the competition, and they want to. The county brings in 59% of that surtax, so you got to follow the money. You don't see them trying to get someone to run for a city council in Mexico Beach because Mexico Beach only has about 0.4% of the surtax money. So 59% goes to the county, and that's where it's an old thing. Just follow the money.
Gentlemen, can you not agree that some of the nastiest political messes we've gotten into in the last 20, 25 years have had to do with building projects and the people that are building those things? I can go to the pipeline. I can go to the airport. I can go to God knows how many projects in this town.
Firehouses? Yes, sir.
Firehouses. Yeah, you want to bring that one up. But how many different projects can we talk about that? And these folks are the usual suspects until we got local preference tossed out. It was the same 3 or 4 people. I don't know if you were on the commission yet or not, but we put a bid out. This county put a bid out for a recreational complex, the sports complex at the beach. Everybody said probably 30 million. The 3 bids that came back all came back at 50 million.
Yes.
And it was like, oh, well, that's way more than we thought. Let's go back and negotiate. They got it down to 38 million. But guess what? The guys who built the thing got an extra 8 million out of the county. And then they turned around and the guy who won the bid, as I recall, and don't hold me to this, but subcontracted out to the other 2 that didn't get the bid. So they all got a piece of the pie.
So which one was on whose donors list? Yours or?
I don't
That'd be
or
Mr.
Dan-
Radfield.
honestly,
Just asking. I'm curious.
I don't think any of those people were. I don't think. But
Yeah.
I mean, the people who are out there waiting tables and making up beds at the
Exactly.
beach are the ones that are paying for this.
That's right.
And I don't know how many
100%.
times we've seen this happen in this town. And guys, it's got to start somewhere if you're going to continue taking money from these people who are doing some of this stuff.
Yes.
I agree with you. Campaigns are very expensive. I was told when I entered my name in the hat to expect to raise up to $120,000. Day one, I said that is ridiculous. If it costs $120,000 to serve the people of Bay County, I'll do what I can do, what I've got. I never got asked to be a politician. I wanted to do this since I was 12 years old. Here's the facts, folks. In 1992, the commercial fishermen of Florida were voted against statewide. I watched my family lay off over 400 employees in one day. My grandfather was 81 years old. He built a heck of a business, him and his sons and the grandsons. we scaled way back. On that day, July the 1st, 1992, I knew that I wanted to stand up for the little guy. I knew that I wanted to represent hardworking men and women. I knew they needed someone to speak on their behalf. I wasn't asked, I was led. I asked the right people, hey, what do I do? How do I get started? Who do I call? Who do I see? And here I am today to serve you, Bay County. That's why I'm here. All the rhetoric that we hear in here about donations and contributors, you have to have them to raise money, folks. Campaigns are super expensive. Commissioner Ham will tell you that. They are super expensive. You're exceeding me right now, Commissioner. You're above me. You have how much in your coffers?
Oh, I think you said around 54.
54,000. How much do I have, Mr. Tom?
46.9.
That's right.
47.
Yes.
And so campaigns are expensive, Commissioner.
They are.
You
They
know
are.
that. And that was a great shot at me. I commend you for that. You made it look real good, real quick.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, the money I've raised is putting my feet on the ground. I've been beating the bushes. You can look at my donors list. Most of them are small donations. I don't have a lot of $1,000 donors. We have a lot of grassroots efforts. I get small donations. I just get something as simple as people asking to, or letting me rather, put a yard sign in the yard and give me absolutely nothing, because the vote is what we're after. It's what we are. But it's back to, like we said before, follow the money. I mean, that's what you do with these type of things.
Well, back to both of this, and Daniel. I mean, you said that about the little guy, big guy. I know that you probably don't mean it, but let me just explain something to you. When you say that you are a public servant and you are going to work with taxpayers' dollars, there's only one guy. All the people that are driving around right here and they live in the homes and they go to work and they do all that, they're the big guy. You're right. So when you say the little guy, though, you're referring my father for 30 years been in the service industry. Don't refer to him as a little guy.
I think we had this talk.
I'm just saying, like,
think
little
where I
guy, big
stand on
guy.
that, Ron. We were at the college the other day and you made fun of beer slingers. Remember I told you?
Oh, I made fun of beer slingers.
love 'em.
Oh, because I said that they needed better opportunity here?
sir.
Yes, that's what I said.
that's not.
You want to put words in my mouth, Daniel?
Ron.
No, we ain't going to do that. Absolutely not.
I will say this. You've said twice, 2 or 3 times, that campaigns are expensive to run. When that person hands you that money, you do not think that they're expecting something in return if they need it?
I'm so glad you asked me that. And I brought my wallet with me. And I've got this check. August 26th, I wrote this check. This check isn't made out yet, but it will be. It's for $1,000 right there. In the bottom left corner, it says, I do not kiss rings. And what this check is for, you write me a check for $1,000, and that's the maximum you can write per entity or person. I'm going to give you back your money. I'm not kissing your ring. I'm here to serve the people of Bay County. And that's
Cool,
what
then
you got
recuse your,
for.
then that's
Got all
great.
kinds of $1,000.
Then cool,
Well,
recuse
so do
yourself
you,
of the
Tommy.
vote.
Tommy, so do you.
$1,000.
I don't know who you're trying to fool.
$1,000 may be the legal
So do
limit.
you, Tommy.
$1,000
So do
may
you,
be the
sir.
legal
The
limit.
check is that's worthless. It's nothing more than a ploy.
A ploy?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
it's a stage prop.
Oh, really? That's not my check? That's not my name?
You've got it made out to nobody. It's not even signed.
That's right. Why would I sign it? You have a degree in finances. You should know this.
No, I do not. I got a degree in economics.
That's right.
$1,000 contribution may be the legal limit, but you both know, or you all three of you know, and everybody sitting at home knows, that the same guy can write one for himself, for his wife, for his
Exactly.
son, for his daughter, for his 4 companies.
True.
And before you know it, this guy's got $8,000 in your account. You gonna write a check for that?
If need be, I'm not going to be bought. I can tell you that. I'm not going to kiss the ring. I can tell you that.
Well, then that goes back to
I
what we
can tell
originally
you.
went to. So, Daniel, it's
No,
not
I
that.
would-
This is not that hard. It goes back to exactly what we just said.
If needed to
if you
recuse
don't kiss,
myself,
if
then
you
yes,
don't kiss
absolutely.
rings, then
If
do it.
needed to recuse myself, I would
No, not
absolutely
if
recuse.
needed to. Don't stick that in there. You just say, I will recuse myself if it has anything to do
No,
with any
I-
contractors
I
on my
can't-
donors
I'm
list.
not going to say that.
Of course you're not,
I'm not
Daniel.
gonna
That's
say
why
that.
I'm asking you.
Let's jump gears because we're gonna sit here and argue about
Yeah,
this
this-
all night long. Let's change directions for a second. And I'm the one that brought it up, so I brought this on all of us. Let's one of you mentioned earlier on about the sales tax, half-cent sales tax. We've
Yes.
got this bond issue, or not a bond issue, but a vote coming up here pretty soon where you're trying to renew the half-cent sales tax for infrastructure, okay? There has been some suggestions by some folks that there's a possibility of, oh, let's do what Lynn Haven did and bond that half-cent sales tax and give it to one company ahead of time and let them do all the work in the county. That is, I mean, not the county, but the city up in Lynn Haven. Is that something that any of you would suggest, Mr. Keel, or would entertain? Would you entertain something like that? Bonding that money and giving it to one person?
No, I've talked to multiple people about that.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why Glen Haven has seen a lot of the debt that they're in right now. So no, I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
Oh, no, absolutely not. That is the other leg of the local preference was to push to get municipalities to bond. The bond hamstrings the municipality to where you have to spend that money in 3 years. So you're dumping all this money on the street in 3 years. Supply and demand takes over. Laws of the economic laws take over. You're going to raise the price on the street. You cannot take that bond money and go make money. It's not legal. You cannot do that. So no, and that was another rub from the same group that was behind Daniel, is because we would not bond. We have been able to take that money now and make a 39% return on the investment for the taxpayers. By not bonding, we have increased our purchasing power by 83%, what comes out to over $67 million. That is huge. The tax burden on the Bay County taxpayer shifts from around 72% on their back to about 52% when we start leveraging money from other sources. When you bond, you can't do that. And then when those roads you pave in years 1, 2, 3, years 8, 9, 10, they need maintenance. You don't have the money to do it because you spent it all in the first 3 years. So no, bonding is not to the financial advantage of the taxpayer, and that's something at the county that we're just not interested in doing it. We're not going to bond. It's just the opportunity cost is just too great. So no, I'm definitely against doing that.
No, I'm not for bonding either. I know Commissioner Ham is very familiar with bonding. He's been on the board for 8 years, and I think he uses bonds in his construction company that he currently runs now. So no, I would not be in favor of that. If it's not beneficial to the county, then no, absolutely.
So you scratched some notes. You got something more to add?
No, I was making notes about how bonds work.
Well,
it was pretty interesting how you
one thing, Tom, I would like to clarify. What Daniel said. The bonds that I use in construction is not the same as the county or a municipality going and bonding money. It's not the same thing. So it's two different animals.
Okay. Oh, let's see. Let's start with. We're going to wrap this up here pretty shortly. We've been on about 45 minutes, but I want to give you a couple more things to talk about. What would be the number one priority for you for the county if you're elected?
Me.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead, Mr. Keel,
Number one priority for me is bringing better, higher wage jobs here. Daniel wanted to bring up something earlier about beer slinging, cleaning carpet. My dad's worked in the service industry his whole life. He loves that job. And you know what? I'll never understand it. It's something that he wanted to do, but I do remember he used to tell me all the time, he said, son, that there is more things out there. There's more opportunities out there. Well, I had to leave the county for better opportunity. I had to go out, I had to join the United States military. If I didn't have a secret clearance coming back home, I wouldn't have been able to have the job now that I have that's higher than the median income. Not everybody, military is not an equal opportunity employer. Not everybody can just go join the military, get a clearance, come back home, and get a job as a contractor on base. So for me, I know what it's like to sling a carpet wand. I know what it's like to set up drying equipment. I know what it's like to sweat. I know what it's like to be a bar back. I know what it's like to be a waiter and a waitress. And let me tell you something, the people of this county, tourism is going to thrive whether we want it to or not, but people need better opportunities. We have to be able to bring better opportunities here. And to be honest with you, The appearance at the county level is that there's been a lot of opportunities that we have overlooked and we've missed to be able to bring here. There's been companies that have wanted to come here, and we have made it very, very hard. Right? Daniel said the other night, cutting through the red tape to be able to bring companies here. Completely agree with it. But that's just a statement. What are we actually going to do? We have 2 military installations here. We have a rail system and we have a port. We are not maximizing those to maximum potential. We aren't. Tandil Air Force Base is about to grow. It's going to be huge, but I want to be able to capitalize on the private sector of that for civilians, for people that are here. We need more trade jobs. Right now, we're not. You know, and get back to on the beer slinging thing. Now, let me correct you, because the other night you wanted to say that it's a trade job. That is not a trade job, Daniel. That's a stepping stone for somebody who's going to college, someone that's trying to make a better career. But once they get that degree at Gulf Coast, where are they going to get a job here with that degree? We have got to bring better jobs here. And as your county commissioner, you know, I might not work well at legislating for, new tax. I'm against it. New taxes? Heck no. Not for it. I don't care if it is for the tourists or not. No new tax in this county. We need to lower taxes. And how we're going to do that is by bringing higher wage jobs to the citizens of this county. And that's my main priority.
I'd like to say that if you had that formula to do that, you'd be a very wealthy man. How are you going to do that?
I don't know.
It's easy to say, but
Well, so we do have a
how
couple. Well, we have a couple initiatives that are here in the county that are working. I mean, I mentioned the Bay Defense Alliance the other day. I know that they do a good job reaching out to the community, being able to get people started on base. I've talked about getting the education system involved for internships on our bases. If we could start forming minds at a younger age to think big, think about the jobs that you're going to have, then that, but then also reaching out to companies. I work on the Navy base. I've worked in logistics for a while. And we outsource a lot of companies that could come here, from manufacturing to IT to, mechanical work. We outsource a lot of stuff. We outsource stuff to Louisiana. We outsource it even to Indiana, as far as Indiana. A lot of these companies that are manufacturing, we have all the resources for them to be here. And so how are you going to do it? You reach out to those companies. You pick up a phone and you say, hey, I want you here. I want you here because you're going to be the next step to our citizens having an opportunity. I mean, it really does. That's what will fix pretty much everything.
I think everybody would agree that getting jobs here would be crucial. Not really what a county commissioner's job description is, I don't think, really.
Absolutely, it falls
You
into
think
that.
so?
Absolutely.
You really believe that? I mean, if you look at a constitution or a charter, it's going to say your job is to go get jobs.
Part of the county commissioner is in economic development,
Okay.
and economic development
I've
is
heard-
jobs.
I've heard legislators say the same thing. It's not our.
Well, they're
it's not
dead
our
wrong.
Job to get.
Well, no, they're
to
wrong.
jobs.
It's economic development falls on a county commissioner. Yes, absolutely.
All right, fair enough. Mr. Raffield, what's the one thing that you'd like to accomplish?
I want to say one thing. I grew up cutting mullet heads, commercial fishing, stacking trucks, palletizing pallets, hard back-breaking work. Mr. Lewis knows my family. It's no question. We've always worked hard. Anything I have, I had to work for it. I'm very familiar with trade jobs. I wasn't a beer slinger. I got to be a mullet slinger. I did that until I was 21 years old, and still do it on occasion when I need to. If elected county commissioner, one thing that I want to implement, quality of life in Bay County has to improve. Nobody wants to move to Bay County on this end of the county until we have stuff for children to do. Parks, recreation, roads, infrastructure, all the things that need to be done. Job creation is important. It has to happen. We look back in the county's history, there were some abatements on companies, and that bit the county in the rear end. If I'm not mistaken, the county invited a man to come in at one time, and he took the money that he was given and went hunting, if I'm not mistaken, went to Africa.
The company's called Green something, and they at the top of the People's building. He got rid of that floor and walked away with $700,000 or $800,000. And to the EDA's credit, they went, and the county commission's credit at that time, they changed the rules
Yes.
and put in incentives and said you're not going to get all the money
Yes.
until you reach a certain amount of jobs and what. But yeah, we've been taken in the past and we covered it. Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
And it made it hard for the county. But nonetheless, we do need more jobs. I agree with Mr. Keel. We have to do a better way to work with the EDA as far as the county to provide jobs for Bay County. But we also have to beautify this end of Bay County. You talk to people that leave and they go to the west end of the beach, it's hard for them to come home and look at crooked telephone poles, to look at crooked trees, stop signs, foam around the dadgum telephone poles. If you live in Panama City, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You look at your taxes, they keep creeping up a little bit, and your beautification in your city and the county is still not moving forward. So, if elected county commissioner, these are some of the issues I would work on with the community to improve the county to move forward.
Mr. Ham.
Yeah, I'd like to hear a solution. I've heard Daniel now since his campaign, all these things he's going to do. I'd like to hear how he's going to take and straighten telephone poles. That's nothing we haven't heard any solutions. He's offering these sales rhetoric stuff from 10,000 feet, but we need to know, how are you going to straighten telephone poles? How are you going to pluck the tourist out of the crowd and tax them more that he wants to do? How are you going to lower the cost of living that he's been running on? You know, we hear these things, but there's been no solutions added to it. One of the things we have to get back to is knowledge. Like I said at the beginning, you have to have attainable goals. The state has preempted all 400 municipalities and 67 counties from touching telephone poles. He can't touch telephone poles. Nobody can. That's FP&L. So my idea is, why don't we just back up and let FPL do what they do best and let them take care of their telephone poles? You can't do that as a county commission. But that's something that he's not, he doesn't realize that, and some of the other things with like the foam at the bottom, that again, I mean, it's nothing you can do with that. There's no way to pluck a tourist out of the crowd and make them pay more just because their driver's license says Georgia. It's unconstitutional. You can't do that either. There's nothing a commissioner can do to lower the cost of monetary inflation. The only thing you can do then is vote for a different administration in November that's going to change the monetary policy on a federal level. But back to your question, what would I do? I've said it before, my number one priority would be to rein in the CRA. And we have already made steps on that. Meeting with the mayor at the beach has been huge and instrumental. Getting that to where we can forecast that going forward is monumental for us on the county and for the taxpayers. And to your point, Tom, the EDA does fall underneath the purview of the county commission. So yes, yes. So does
referring to jobs.
jobs.
You were talking about how jobs weren't county commissioner's job, and it actually is. It's kind of a big role and responsibility.
Yeah, yeah.
A little naivete.
Yeah, sorry, no, you're fine. We all make mistakes.
That's all right. That's okay. But my priority going forward, we're already doing it. We've already doing it. I'm going to just keep doing what I've been doing. Is just sound, physically responsible government. Reining in the CRA is going to be a huge, it'll be huge for the county to be able to. Right now, we can only. It's hard for us to budget more than one budget cycle into the future, because of the volatility out there. Being able to cap this thing, has come up with some agreement to where we know what it's going to be. It's going to be a win-win for everybody. It's going to be a win for the beach. It's going to be a win, for the beach CRA, I should say. And it's going to be a win for the county taxpayer as well. So we can keep funding law enforcement, public safety, all those type of things.
All right, gentlemen, I could probably go another hour. I'd like to. I don't know if y'all would or not, but I'd enjoy that. I think we've had some real stimulating conversations. I think we've given people a lot of things to think about. I want to give you each a minute or so here to close things out and give your last message to the voters here before we adjourn for the night.
All right.
Start with you, Mr. Raffield.
Once again, I'm Daniel Raffield. I want to ask you for your vote on or before August the 5th through the 17th. Election day is on August the 20th. There's a lot of big topics coming up. This is a big election. One thing you have to keep in mind, folks, is your current county commissioner voted to tax you, the locals, on the pier. This is one of the things now that he wants to repeal, do away with. And that's because he's up for re-election, folks. The pier was voted on back in April to charge the taxpayers, or he says it's not a tax, it's a fee, but anything that you look is called a fee is really a tax to make you pay to park there. And now he's going to do it away with it and give you back your money. He's up for re-election. If elected as your county commissioner on August the 20th, I promise to do my part to ensure that you, the taxpayers and the locals, are looked after and that you're represented to the best of my ability. I'm Daniel Rathfield, and I appreciate your vote on August the 20th.
Thanks, Mr. Rathfield. Mr.
Thank
Gill.
you.
I heard a lot of discussion tonight, and I stand behind what I said. Everybody who knows me and who listened to this tonight knows that my biggest interest and the biggest part that I want to play in our county is to ensure the future of our children, and not look at that Bay County sign when they leave and say they're never going to come back here. We've got to bring more opportunity here, and I am the person that will work very strenuously to make that happen as a full-time commissioner. Both commissioners that sit up, or one commissioner that sits up here today, and then one other candidate, they only want to do this job part-time. And I believe that you are worth 100% full-time. I will work full-time for you. No ifs, ands, or buts. Do not collect $100. Do not pass go. I'm there for you. So I'm asking for your vote on or before August 20th, and appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Keel. Mr. Ham.
Thank you, Tom. Yes, we do have an important election coming up, and we got a lot to think about. Folks, we are headed in the right direction. We have accomplished a lot over the years, and that is something, too, that my opponent, Mr. Rathfield, has agreed with. He agrees with the direction of the county. He agrees that I've been doing a good job and that I talk to people, but yet he's pounding the table for change. Got to have change. Got to have change. Agrees with me on the increase in the millage, but we still got to have change. So the question becomes, to me, is what kind of change are we looking for? So let's drill into that, like you talked about earlier, Tom, was what kind of change are we looking for? Personally, I think it's an ethical change on the commission is what we're after. We're after favoring special interest. We're looking for that shift, that nudge is coming, that is going to be wanted. And some of the things that I'll look back at too as well, we've had one disgraced county commissioner that's been convicted of public entity crimes. That same person has now been a spokesperson for Mr. Rathfield, and they don't seem to have anything wrong with that. I see a lot wrong with that, folks. I see a lot wrong with that. When it comes to running a $570 million budget, experience matters. Knowledge matters. Honesty, integrity matter. So I'm respectfully asking for your vote on or before August the 20th. And together, we're going to keep honesty and integrity on the Bay County Commission.
Gentlemen, thank you once again for being here. I hope that it hasn't been too painful of an experience
Not
for
at
you.
all.
I loved it.
But I appreciate y'all being here. And like I say, hopefully the voters will learn something and got some information they need to make an educated choice when they go to the polls or they mail their ballots in for this primary election. Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate that. We've got another debate coming up between the sheriff's candidates Thursday night, 2 nights from tonight, 7 p.m., same location. My co-anchor, Amy Hoyt, will be hosting that one. And then she's back again next Thursday on the 8th of August for the school board District 1 seat for between the two candidates running for that race too. So it doesn't matter who you support. Of course, these gentlemen would like you to support them, but it doesn't matter who you support. Just support somebody and go vote. Make your voices heard. That's what democracy is all about. We appreciate you tuning in this evening. Again, if you didn't get to see all of this, it's going to live for quite a while on our website and on our Facebook page. So have a great day, and we'll see you again 2 nights from tonight with the Sheriff's Debate and Amy Hoyt. Thanks for tuning in.